Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at a new locomotive I got. This is a Pennsylvania G5 by Westside Model Company. Made by Katsumi or KTM. And you can see it's a pretty small box. I'm used to buying the big 210-4, so I assume those have bigger boxes, but I do like it when companies don't make excessively large boxes. Like, this is all you need. And you can see this had the classic Japanese disintegrating foam. Now, this is not the right tender for a Pennsy, but it's a Long Island because when the Long Island also had the G5s, they had this K4 tender. So, I haven't figured out if I'm going to paint it Long Island or paint it Pennsy. Might paint it Pennsy, and I don't really care that much if it's the wrong tender because it's still a Pennsy tender, so it would be fine technically. Oh, that fell off. For some reason, I have bad luck with Pennsy engines and their boiler front staying on. Like, the only two engines I have the problems with are Pennsy engines. So, but here's the locomotive. It's I refrain from calling it cute just because it's a pretty big 460. I don't have another one to compare it to, but it's a pretty big engine, and it's such an attractive one because it's got that kind of big brooding. It's got that Pennsy look, but it's just kind of cute. You know. It's just a lovely engine, and I'd been looking for one of these, but I didn't want to pay that much because, they're very common, and I didn't want the Max Gray. So four people made them. Max Gray was the first. That was made by KTM, the same people who made this, but that was about 10 years earlier. It was probably in 1961, 1962, when they made it, and they didn't have the brake shoes, which it's a small thing, but you can notice it on an engine like this due to the large driver spacing. So that's one reason why I wanted to go for one of the later ones. Then Gem and Westside made it pretty close. The Gem had a backhead, so it's a little bit more detailed as a model-wise, but this is definitely a better model, operations-wise, because it has that big idler gearbox. And I will be putting a CAN motor and painting this eventually, but, this is further back on the project list because it's super nice and runs well as it is. I go through projects, basically, if it's a really nice engine, if it's really nice and I want it painted or put DCC in it, I'll do that. Or if it's like foam damage and needs it or has a bad paint job, I go paint those first because they look worse on the display case than these do. But yeah, I guess we'll get to running it, and then I hope you guys enjoy the video. See you guys in the next one. The Pennsylvania G5 was built between 1923 and 1925, with 90 being built for the Pennsylvania and 31 being built for the Long Island, with the main difference being just the tender, because the Long Island had an XK4 tenders. Now, these had very small drivers, only 68-inch drivers, which contributed to more of a freight look, and this was because the Pennsylvania wanted to have a little bit more lower-end power, and those 68-inch drivers contributed to that higher tractive effort. They used E6 boilers and had that Pennsylvania sports cab. The spacing between the second and the third driver contributed to a very rough ride, and on top of that, it made it undesirable because on top of the rough ride, you had to hand shovel the engine. They were kind of just scattered all over and were mainly used on commuter service, and in some instances, they were used on freight, like milk trains. So I hope you guys enjoy the running of this.